But now the game has begun, and with it, a wonderful adventure of Protoss versus Protoss that could potentially come to an end if this man in the Northeast, the blue Protoss player, cannot dig himself out of the proverbial grave. He is 6 feet under his chance at $100,000. Rests on whether or not he can win 3 games in a row from this position. It is Oz, formerly of Evil Genius, the Intel Extreme Masters Shanghai finalist, who has to topple this giant with doing a very fast probe scout. The red Protoss player from Jin Air Green Wings, sOs, formerly Wunjin Stars, the invited player who won BlizzCon, who I guess for lack of any more intelligent way to say it, the guy who literally won WCS last year. And he has tucked a probe back here. He's, oh my goodness. Wow, Oz has some pretty fast reaction timing. sOs, you know, I think I saw, what was it? Was it CJ Hero? sOs wasn't the player that did this in Pro League recently. I don't think he was that guy. But, or maybe it was GSL. There was a game where this type of double gas steal happened. sOs was able to block one of these assimilators, but thankfully for Oz, he reacted very quickly and was able to save this. And I like, oh, sOs is so cheeky. You mine the minerals, and then you go into the geyser. And if you guys don't know too much about, if you guys have never, if for some strange reason you've never had somebody steal one of your gas geysers and do what is being done by sOs in this game, basically he can mine minerals and then go get gas, and it makes the minerals disappear forever. He is literally destroying resources on this map. This 15 gas will never be back. And this is the weirdest worker mining rotation you will ever see in your entire life. I promise you. Meanwhile, sOs is still playing it out relatively normal back at home. Cybernetics core on the way, and Oz comes in. He's like, okay, I see pretty much everything. He can't gas steal sOs, of course. He can't pay it back. But he has so far destroyed about 25 gas and maybe 25 minerals, 20 minerals or so. So those resources are permanently gone from the map. Which is a bit, it's weird. It's really weird to think about this. Now the Zealot's here, so he's going to get to work on that assimilator. And he's basically just going to try to stop sOs from doing this anymore. And assimilators, of course, have a ton of hit points. So sOs is still going to be really annoying. Look at this. He's like, yeah, I'm just going to go in the assimilator from another direction just to dodge the Zealot. I don't think I've ever seen a player, maybe Huck. Maybe Huck would have been a player to put this much APM into his initial scouting probe. But it's actually kind of hilarious to think about it, as he's destroyed some resources. Total amount of gas lost is what? 32 gas. So I guess that's kind of impressive. He made 16 trips into that assimilator. Or maybe my math is just awful. Maybe 8 trips. Mothership core is out for sOs. He's going for a straight-up 3-gate as his follow-up. He says your gas was delayed, and I feel like this would force Oz to play with gateways as well. And he is playing with gateways. So I don't know. sOs's second gateway is much faster. Is the only reason why I think this could work. Because his second gateway is so much faster, he's able to get this extra stalker out. And this actually has a very similar makeup to the build that sOs did on Yansu. This is straight up 5 stalker rush, 3-gate, for lack of a better word, all in. Stalkers are trading blows. Oz is the one that's showing the aggressive posture, though, which feels funny. Mostly because, like I said, there's just a slight unit production edge a little bit earlier for sOs. Warp gate's complete for him now. Oz's warp gate is just a couple seconds away. This stalker comes out, and the mothership core is taking some pot shots. I mean, sOs really doesn't want to lose this mothership core because he's on even production now, and he had a very tiny production edge earlier. But losing the mothership core, losing a photon overcharge as Oz attacks could make things rough. The mothership core will kill 4 workers and then throw the time warp before dying. But sOs, yeah, he's got a lot of stalkers on the map. I think that production edge, yeah, he's got too much on the field right now. And now, just now, those gateways are turning into warp gates. That's why Oz has no units on the map. This is actually pretty scary. He's built a Nexus, And I guess his goal here is to just defend, 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 which he can do with the 2 force fields. If he can pinch the stalkers in half. Actually, very nice force fields to lock them in. The reaction time required is important. So this gateway's transformed a little late, lost a few probes, but has the Nexus. And it looks like sOs is going to concede that Nexus to him. He's going to be like, okay, I'll take a slight economic disadvantage. I killed a few of your probes. And he starts a Stargate. Both players going Stargate. So we may have that wonderful nightmare scenario of Phoenix versus Phoenix in PvP. Actually, Oz takes a third gas. I feel like he wants to time this out to be done as fast as humanly possible. Just feels weird to see that sometimes. Usually it's just like Zerg players that would take a gas before the base is even done, but sOS's Nexus will be done in about 30 seconds or so. I guess the real question now is what comes out of these Stargates? It could just be Phoenix. And it's like, it's really weird because an Oracle is never necessarily bad, and it will be an Oracle for both players, but just imagine for a second that Oz gets a Phoenix and sOs still gets an Oracle. Then you just kind of kill the Oracle for free, basically. There's not really any tangible advantage gained by opening Stargate at the same pace. And then, of course, if both players open Oracle, then it's just a matter of reaction time. I really wouldn't be surprised to see both players get at 1 Phoenix at least afterwards. sOs uses the hallucinated Oracle. There is a Phoenix being chrono boosted out for both players, but the hallucinated Oracle seems to be the bait so that the real Oracle can get in and do damage. And this is one of those cute things that nobody ever does because it doesn't usually ever work, but it is kind of funny to see. And now the Oracle for Oz is dancing around. There's nowhere it can really attack because there's stalkers at every base. There's the Mothership Core and the Natural, and actually one of the stalkers, they're moving away. There's actually nothing here. You might be able to snap up a few probes, and here he goes. Fusion Overcharge is activated. He kills 2 workers. And let's see what sOs can do now that Oz has been repelled. Moves into the Natural. 1 worker, 2, and he gets just a little bit more. 3 workers. He gets 1 more. Almost gets a 4th. Trying to click on it. Actually does get the 4th at the cost of that Oracle. And that's annoying because Oz dodges the Phoenix. The Executioner goes on the hunt and is not able to find his prey. Now he will. Oz went back in just a little bit too soon, it seems, so he will lose that Oracle. A bit frustrating. He will use his Phoenix to scout, though, see what's going on. The robotics facility is complete for sOs. This gives him, you know, it could be for detection, but it also gives him, of course, that potential to move into the further robotics tech. The other thing that's interesting for me is Oz does have a robo of his own, but we're not seeing any further levels of tech yet. Forge is on the way for sOs. And the real question now, since he is getting Blink, is sOs going to move into Colossus first, or are we going to have some form of, like Archon-based play? I feel like it could be Colossus because it's Blink first, but Blink is almost a necessity in PvP when you have to deal with especially Stargate units. So there's potential that he could throw it on a Robotics Bay or a Templar Archives. I'm not as familiar with the PvP meta. My Protoss knowledge only goes so far. But with the Blink and the +1 attack, this is still a strong setup, and this probe is actually just going to go take a 3rd base. Both players looking to take 3rd bases. This makes a lot of sense. Like I was saying, neither player really dedicated themselves 100% to a tech path. That's the thing that was puzzling me, and it has to only be because neither of them are looking to get so aggressive that they would need the tech just yet. So that's why they're taking the 3rd bases, playing with a little bit lower tech units, and will probably grind out a lot more after these 3rds start to get saturated. But Oz has 5 Phoenix, and his army's here. Now, this pylon for sOs sees this force coming in. He has the Mothership Core as well. He can Time Warp or Recall. The Phoenix are not able to get into the mineral line for Oz. sOs is actually, he could get force fielded on this ramp. I mean, his 3rd base, he could pick it off potentially, but he's not going to commit. He wants to head home. Hallucinated Phoenix Scout is here, and sOs has proxy pylons on the map, so he's going to check and he sees, okay, Oz, you're taking a 3rd base, and now he knows that, well, both of them are pretty much doing the same thing. Like they're both just kind of doing the same thing at this point. The only difference is, as far as Protoss versus Protoss army compositions go, Immortals are almost never bad to have. And we're starting to see that difference in terms of the unit comps, because there are no Immortals for sOs on the map, and there are 3 of them for Oz. So Oz has a ton of firepower to kill these stalkers with, and there's 17 of them. It's almost pure stalker. Now, Charge is being researched by sOs. He's starting to squeeze out a few zealots, but he's not really committed to that setup just yet. And now they're both getting Templar Archives, so it will be a more Archon-based army. And I really like the Archon-based army for sOs only because Immortals don't deal bonus damage, but there are 4 Immortals on the map with +1 attack now. So this pretty much becomes at this point like the Stalkers get absolutely destroyed. You need the Zealots to tank damage. And the reason why I mentioned the Zealots tanking damage is because both players going Archons means that they can't. Like, Archons destroy Zealots like nothing else. It's truly a massacre. There's very few other ways to put it. So sOs is being out on the map. He's not worried about being harassed, I guess. He has his Templar on the field, and he might try to get feedbacks on these Phoenixes. He does pick off a few of them, not bad. Immediately turns into an Archons. Those cannot be lifted, of course. So that's not bad, actually. And gets another feedback. Those Phoenix have been castrated for now. We do have +2 attack coming in for both players. And yeah, it's just Archons and Immortals. I still got to give the edge to Oz as far as army compositions go because of how many Immortals he's already built up. The Immortal count is absurd. Like, these Stalkers are going to die incredibly fast. He needs the Zealots and the Archons to tank for him. But he doesn't have more Archons than Oz. sOs just has, what in my opinion, seems to be a slightly less impressive army. Where are the rest of his forces? Now the rest of the Zealots are coming in. So this is actually really interesting. How many Zealots do both players have? Yeah, Oz has already more, but 1 extra Archon. It's okay, so now it's even on Archons, but still 4 more Immortals. I don't know. This is really tough. You could try to abuse the range and the position here of the range that the Stalkers have on the Archons, but as long as these Archons lead the charge, the front line for sOs should die pretty quickly. Actually, force fields these in, does blink back. Not losing too much. This proxy pylon is, oh wow, he almost gets it. The Zealot warping kind of triggers that AI, so you can pick it off and defend it. But Oz still has a rather impressive army. He has a pylon position to go for an attack. And this is a very difficult position, I feel, for sOs. He's gotten some time to recover. Another Immortal walks down the ramp, but the Zealot flank coming from the right side as well. My fantastic observing skills. Guardian shields popped, and Oz has so much. Not even the Zealots warped in from the back from this Warp Prism, distracting the Stalkers. The Immortals left at the front to take the brunt of this damage. The Porkers are still mining in the third for sOs, but there's still so many Immortals. He still has all 6 Immortals that he had at the beginning of this engagement. More Zealots being brought forward. I think Oz might be able to get himself on the scoreboard for this series. He's doing it as much as he can. Zealots are peeled off to the mineral line. Just 1 Zealot to defend. It's not going to be enough. He can't really move down this ramp. He could just get cut off. Only thing he's done with the last few warp-ins is get close to evening out the Archon count, and this is rough. Oz has just he just had a better army composition the whole entire game. And I've really liked his position throughout the majority of this map. The Stalkers just have not done enough for sOs. Blinks them down. Maybe you could try to pincer this army, but those Immortals are still going to destroy this. And the Zealot Warpin's coming from the right side, distracting sOs's forces. He's giving it everything he's got, but just these Immortals, they do not care about this Stalker count. And the Zealots force the Archons and Immortals back up into sOs's natural. He will tap out. GG. Oz is not dead yet. Managing to put himself